Hi everyone, my name is Splin and every Friday I issue a video digest of the motorcycle news. I mentioned earlier that Triumph and Bajaj were developing a motorcycle together, which was announced back in 2017, but the COVID breakout messed up these plans. But now the expectations are that the new motorcycle will go live already in 2023. Despite image of the bike leaked out in February. This is a single-cylinder bike with inverted fork and alloy wheels. And now there is a new image of the model, which turned out to be a scrambler. What is interesting about this image? In addition to the side back and central case, we can see that it seems to be a different version. The motorcycle has handguards and presumably spoked wheels. The quality of the image is not so good, but the wheels looks like they are spoked ones. The top case doesn't really fit in the concept. It might have been installed to carry tools or some equipment. We cannot see the front fender on the photo, which might indicate that it's gonna be quite high. Or it's maybe due to the angle at which the photo was made, we'll see. It's a little bit rainy today. ICMA is over, so instead of the official releases, we now have spy images. Here is one more. It all started in August when the CEO of Royal Enfield posted a bit of confusing video on his Instagram. The video must have been featuring the new Himalayan, which is expected to have a completely new, more powerful 450cc engine. The only thing that was clear from the video, in addition to the fact it was a new Himalayan, was that it has a LED light. The current version of the Himalayan has halogen light. There was also a spy image completely unclear except for the spoked wheels and a single brake disc at the front. And finally, there is some additional information. The Autocar magazine claims that according to the insider information, Royal Enfield plans to launch as many as 5 new models based on the Himalayan platform. The Himalayan itself, a more off-road version of the Himalayan, a scrambler, a cafe racer and a naked bike. There is no real evidence for these claims, but on the other hand it makes a lot of sense to use the new engine for several motorbikes. In my view, it will be cool if they launch a 650 version of the Himalayan. Enfield has had the 650cc engine for quite a long time, but has used it only for classic bikes. Also, they presented a cruiser and a bobber prototype recently. I think this engine would fit the Himalayan nicely. What if they dare to try it? Time for some cool stuff from KTM. The Austrian maker decided to bring back the 790 Adventure to its 2023 model year, similar to that happened to the Duke. Let me remind you that it's been a couple of years that KTM replaced the 790 with the 890. Why did they return the 790 and what is this motorcycle about? Let's start with the obvious things. The looks were redesigned to match the style of 890. The engine is Euro 5 compliant and the bike is now produced by CF Moto, the Chinese partner of the KTM, which is the key fact about this release. The engine seems to be pretty much the same, a parallel twin called LC8C, delivering the same 95 horsepower and 86 Nm of torque. But it was upgraded, and despite the fact that it's Euro 5, which usually means lower power, the power remains the same. KTM also says that it's improved bike stability and cornering poise by increasing the rotating mass by 20%. It also reworks the throttle bodies and knock control sensor, making it easier for the 790 to digest low-octane fuel while you're out adventuring. The power assist slipper clutch has also been reworked. Similar to the 890 version, the bike has new dashboard, which is cool, as the previous version of the dashboard had reliability issues, coupled with the cost of $1,000 for the new dashboard. The fuel tank remains the same at 20 liters, which claimed possible range of 450 kilometers. Electronics. The previous version already had an IMU, which has now been updated, so the electronic assistance is expected to have better performance. The bike now has this bloody demo mode, which switch on all the electronic rider aids for the first 1,500 kilometers of ownership, in hopes of convincing you to subscribe to them once the trial period is over. Not sure if it's supposed to be a one-off payment or a regular subscription type of payment. I wish I had a chance to talk to a guy who came up with this brilliant idea and tell him what I'm thinking about it. Suspension. There is no more R version, there is 890 version instead, while the 790 will have a 43mm fork with WP Apex monoshock. No adjustments possible, but it should be enough for regular adventure travel without hardcore off-road. Price has not been announced yet, but if it's not high, Aprilia Touareg and Tenere 700 will be under pressure. The Chinese maker Bosch continuing its international expansion. Now it's launching the Sfida SR4 maxi scooter in Europe, the one that was previously shown at EICMA. Let's have a look at the new model. The philosophy of the model is close to the one of T-Max. Bosch positions the model as a sport maxi scooter, obviously not for race, with focus on technology. To correspond to this philosophy, the scooter boasts a full set of LED light, including corner light, traction control, 2-channel ABS, a big TFT dashboard that pairs with a smartphone and with a Bluetooth helmet communicator, and tire pressure monitoring system. Not bad for a scooter, also it's still far from BMW C650 GT. From the viewpoint of sportness, it's not so cool in my view. The scooter has a single-cylinder 350cc liquid-cooled engine delivering 29 horsepower at 7,500 RPM. Bosch specifically mentions that to provide maximum comfort, the Sfida features damper-equipped engine mounts that absorb the majority of the vibrations of the thumper. The scooter utilizes a tubular steel frame with a die-cast aluminum alloy swing arm, reducing unsprung weight. Suspension is from KYB, the brakes are from Hahuan. The price in Italy is 7,000 United States dollars. It's not cheap, I would say. Time for motorcycle gear news. Today we have an unusual helmet. Helmet maker Scorpion updated the Exo Combat model after 6 years of production. Now it's called Exo Combat 2. This is quite a unique type of helmet, loved by many for its aggressive looks. By substance, it's all-open helmet with a detachable chin and a visor of unusual shape. It's quite obvious that the reason behind the update was the ECE 22.06 certification, and surprisingly enough, the helmet doesn't certify for this standard as a full-faced helmet. It's only certified as a jet helmet and cannot provide the level of safety required for an integral or modular helmet. More wear stuff. The visor is a sunscreen, it's always shaded and it has to be lifted when it's dark. The visor also featured anti-fog treatment, but according to my own experience, this is not a durable solution, while the pin lock is not available. The hypoallergenic liner and a micrometric buckle chin strap are other cool features. Ventilation is claimed to have been improved as well. The price in Europe is 200 euros, quite reasonable. Also, it's important to realize that this is not a real integral helmet. Now let's talk a bit about the development of urban mobility in the light winter cities in the near future. Of course, we are talking about swappable batteries. I mentioned the company called Gachako. It's one of the earlier digests. This is not a startup, this is a partnership of the Japanese motorcycle Big Four and the Japanese oil company Ineos that decided to launch standard swappable batteries and all the required infrastructure. And here is some tangible results. Honda presented its charging stations in October and immediately transferred the technology to the joint company. 1 more month and Gachako installed 2 charging stations in Tokyo and Osaka. As for now, the stations primarily serve demonstration and data collection purposes. The company will monitor the usage, identify issues and so on, so that after such testing the system can be upgraded and launched at a bigger scale. If you remember, there is a similar joint company in Europe with, importantly, Honda and Yamaha being part of it. It's still not clear if they succeed to align on at least standard batteries or even standard charging station, which would make a lot of sense from the economics perspective and would be more convenient for the users. Rest assured, I will keep you informed of how the situation develops. Following the good old tradition to close the digest with something really interesting, here is the story of a motorcycle engine-powered car. And all Fiat 500 got a Hayabusa engine. Not sure if you know this, but the old Fiat Cinquecento engine delivered around 20 horsepower, compared to the 197 horsepower of a Hayabusa engine. So one can expect a fast as hell Fiat as a result of such tuning. But does the Hayabusa have a rear gear? How can the torque will be passed from the engine to the wheels by chain? After all, how would one shift gears? You can find answers to these questions in a video that I share below. Alright, let me tell you a bit about the transmission. It's a sequential one. You need to pull clutch to shift from the first to the second gear. No clutch required for the further upshifts, but for downshifts you do need the clutch again. I would strongly recommend to check out this video and have a look at the faces of the 2 adult mates that drive the car. It's cool to have hobbies like this. That's it for today. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe. I would appreciate your feedback and comments. See you next Friday.